Welcome to Training Your Dog 101. This is a two-part tutorial designed to introduce the basics behind dog training. The first part focuses on teaching you the basics of learning theory, which is how all animals learn. The second part focuses on teaching the basics of clicker training, which is the method we use to teach behaviors here at treatpouch.com. Part 1. Learning theory. How does your dog learn? The first rule we introduce is everything your dog does is just simply behavior. A dog paying attention to their owner, or a dog jumping all over house guests, a dog coming when called, or a dog tearing up toilet paper. Good or bad, cute or annoying, it's all just behavior. The second rule we introduce is all behavior is driven by consequences. Dogs that look longingly at their owners are often rewarded with attention and treats. Dogs that jump up on guests usually were rewarded with attention when they jumped up when they were small puppies. Dogs that come when called are rewarded with praise, treats, and toys for coming. Dogs that tear up toilet paper rolls get relief from boredom, and they find destroying things fun. Good consequences increase behavior. Two of the behaviors we've listed here are undesirable, and two are desirable, but all four are occurring because of good consequences. Providing good consequences to increase desired behavior is at the heart of positive reinforcement training. The old saying, "You get more bees with honey," is absolutely true. Positive reinforcement is the most effective way to teach your dog to do desirable behaviors. You'll also increase the bond and love you share with your dog. Your dog will enjoy training and learning, and your dog's confidence and happiness will greatly increase. Now, some important details. The timing between behavior and consequence must almost be immediate for your dog to connect them together. Compare this to a child who'd work all year long for a great report card. But could you imagine giving your dog a bone at the end of the day because they didn't have an accident all day long? Reward your dog on the spot, or don't bother rewarding your dog at all. What about undesirable, self-rewarding behaviors? You can't ignore them. These behaviors create their own good consequences. A dog that digs in the garden, the hole gets deeper. A dog that countersurfs, they score awesome food. A dog that plays too rough with a cat, they get a rise out of the cat's reaction. Management means supervision. Use leashes, tethers, gates, and crates, and keeping your house clean to prevent your dog from being reinforced for undesirable behaviors. If your dog is performing undesirable behavior, interrupt it immediately, but most importantly, manage and prevent it from occurring again. Clicker training, in contrast, will enable us to teach your dog what to do instead. For example, instead of harassing the cat, we can teach the dog to sit and look at you when it's in the same room with the cat instead. If your management is lacking, you'll end up teaching your dog to do undesired behavior first, just so that they can be told to do good behaviors and get rewards. For example, you'll end up with a dog that jumps up on guests, then sits, and then looks at you expecting a treat. These are examples of behavior chains that owners often inadvertently train their dog to do. The old saying, "An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure," holds true here. We don't want jump then sit, we just want your dog to sit. Learning theory. A review. Good or bad, it's just behavior. Behavior is driven by consequences. Positive reinforcement is the most effective way to teach new behavior. Timing is critical. Prevent and manage undesirable behaviors and teach new desired behaviors. Finally, beware of behavior chains. Part 2, Introduction to Clicker Training. Before we begin, we'd like to tell you why it's worth the effort to learn how to clicker train. The reason? All things equal, the identical dog, or perhaps your dog's littermate, with the same treats, with the exact same person. The only difference is that one dog is taught with a clicker and the other is taught without. The clicker trained dog will learn way faster. So if you want fast results, then you want a clicker train. The reason why your dog will learn faster is because they'll always be able to connect their behavior to consequence. Dogs move really fast and they move a lot. When you teach a young puppy how to lay down, for example, they stay there for a split second. You can't possibly put the treat in the dog's mouth at the exact moment the dog lays down. If you tried, they'll probably have already stood up. But you can click the split second the dog lays down and then follow it up with a treat. The dog will quickly learn that whatever they were doing the split second you clicked is the reason for the treat that follows. For advanced tricks, a clicker is absolutely mandatory. How could I possibly put a treat in a dog's mouth when they're in the middle of doing a trick like a handstand? Marine mammal trainers were one of the earlier adopters of the technology behind clicker training, although they used whistles versus clickers. For them, it was really important. After all, how could you put a fish inside a dolphin's mouth when they're midway through a jump? Clickers help solve the problem of connecting behavior to consequence. An important tip to make your training effective: click, then treat. Keep your treats out of your hand, or else you'll train a dog to be treat-wise, and they'll only perform behavior if you have treats in your hand first. Also, keep your hand still so that the click is the only thing that the dog can perceive when the dog does it right. Avoid the temptation to click at your dog like you might be turning on the TV with a remote. When you watch our training videos, you'll see that we are very quiet and we are very still. This helps your dog learn faster. Randomizing treats and using life rewards. Some students are worried they'll need treats forever. First, simply stop giving treats for every behavior. Initially, when we're training, you'll give them one treat for every behavior they do correct. But as time moves on, you can move towards giving them one treat for every 3 correct behaviors, then 5 correct behaviors, then 10, and so on and so forth. It's the same phenomenon that drives gamblers to go to the casino. They perform behaviors all day long and they don't get a single treat. But once in a while, they perform a behavior and they get a treat, and that motivates them to keep on performing behavior. But in both cases, the reinforcement schedules are random. Make sure your dog never knows when they might get a treat. The other way to get rid of treats is to simply reward your dog with consequences that occur in real life anyways. For example, drop it for the ball to be thrown again for a game of fetch. Sit before the leash goes on and we'll take you out for a walk. Or lay down and I'll give you a belly rub. Many life rewards are actually more desirable to your dog than treats. Train everywhere. Initially, train in a quiet place. But if you want your dog to be good everywhere, you'll need to train everywhere. When you train outdoors, use tastier, higher value treats, and do make the exercises easier whenever you train in distracting environments. Lastly, always remember this: your dog is learning 24/7, 365 days a year. It's when you're not training that your dog learns the most. So 2 things to keep in mind. If your dog wants something, simply ask for a behavior first. You're just teaching your dog how to say please and thank you. And if you see your dog doing a good behavior, reward them. Surprise your dog with a game of fetch or a walk when you catch them sleeping quietly. Don't wait for them to beg you for a walk. Clicker training review. Your dog will learn faster being clicker trained. Clicks connect behavior to consequence. It's click, then treat. Randomize treats and use life rewards. Train everywhere. And your dog is learning 24/7. So what are you waiting for? Get your clicker, get some treats, grab your dog, and let's do some training. A great exercise to start with is simply teaching or reteaching sit, and here are your instructions. First, observe your dog and wait for your dog to offer a sit. As you see your dog begin to sit and their bum has nearly touched the floor, click and then treat. I'd recommend putting the treat on the floor so that the dog has to stand up to eat their treat. Repeat this until your dog is offering sits over and over and over again, at which point you can start adding a cue or naming the behavior. Simply start saying sit just before your dog does the behavior. We hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you'd like to take what you've learned and apply it even further, please enroll in our Polite Puppy course. By taking our Polite Puppy course, you'll learn how to teach your dog useful behaviors to make him the ideal housemate. Julie and I will be there in the online classroom, ready to answer questions you may have. So, we'll see you in school soon.